the other side to also come up with. Oh, I know you also have the men. Yeah, I know. But let us see your men. Let us see your men. Mr. Speaker, on that score, I want to thank you and commend my colleague whose long-awaited statement has finally been admitted and he has delivered it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, let's turn to page 3. Page 3. So in line with what the minority leader just said, next week we will revisit the backbenchers week, which is Wednesday, so that we give the backbenchers the opportunity to also do business in the House. So, page 3.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, I know that the minister is here to attend upon the House. He cannot use this chamber to hide from his ministry. He's been here since 2 o'clock, Mr. Speaker. He must stay in his ministry. Mr. Speaker, he must spend time to do his ministerial work. You go and pay your contractors. Chase your releases at the finance ministry. Don't be coming here to sit here. Yes, we want you to answer our questions, but fix the roads. Fix the roads. You have not received your releases.
Thank you.
Since we approved the budget, your money has not come. And you come here, go and chase it.
Leader.
You are running away from contractors.
Honorable Minority Leader.
You can't use Parliament to run away from contractors. Mr. Speaker, he can't use Parliament to run away from contractors.
Honorable
Go and pay them. Go and pay them.
Mr. Speaker, I think that
(119).
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member has informed me that since filing the question, he's had opportunity to engage, and so he intends to withdraw, but inadvertently it's been captured on the order paper. So I have his authority to seek your leave to withdraw the question as advertised.
But, excuse me, is it not the same person that withdrew from asking the question last week?
Yes, there were a chain of questions that he asked. They were similar. So if you recall, earlier this week, or last week, he withdrew one. So this week, the other one got advertised.
Very well.
So this one will suffer the same fate.
Very well. So now let's turn to Honorable Vincent Ekwa Asafua Oltafo. Question 139. Question 139. So, honorable members, hold on. Question 119 is hereby withdrawn. So, table, take note of that. Yes. Honorable Vincent Ekwa Asafua. Question 139.
139. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 88.3 and I rise to ask the Minister for roads and highways, details of the current state of the Sino-Hydro project in Old Tafo constituency, the steps being taken to ensure its completion and when it is expected to be completed. Thank you.
Respectful Honorable Minister, may take the podium.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me put on record, I work 7 hours every day before I come to Parliament. I start work at 7 a.m. For your information, I start work at 7 a.m. daily. So by the time I get here, I've done 7 hours at the ministry before coming here. And Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Old Tafo is located within Ashanti region. The rehabilitation of roads within Old Tafo and other areas was being executed under the Sino-Hydro Master Project Support Agreement (MPSA) facility signed in this house, approved in this house in 2018 by the government of Ghana and Sino-Hydro Corporation of China to support the infrastructure project in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, current program. The Department of Urban Road awarded the contract titled Construction Rehabilitation of Selected Roads and Interchanges in Ghana, Phase 1, Lot 2, Kumasi Inner City Road, for the rehabilitation of selected roads in beneficiary metropolis and municipalities, including Kumasi, Metro, Mampong, Asokwa, Oforikrum, Efidjuase, Kwadaso, Swame, and Tafo. The contract commenced on the 21st of December 2021 for completion by 2nd June 2024. A total of 5.7 kilometers of road were earmarked for rehabilitation at Old Tafo. 4.3 kilometers of road have drains completed. 1.4 kilometers of roads have outstanding drainage works. 5.7 kilometers of roads have outstanding pavement works outstanding. Physical completion of the work is currently 17%. The contractor is currently not on site. The project stalled due to debt restructuring policies. Steps being taken to get the project resumed. The Ministry of Roads and Highways is working with Ministry of Finance to conclude negotiations with the Chinese commercial loans for resumption of the funding for the project from Sinosure, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable Asafoje, do you have any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the minister and ask if there can be some timeline, so what the people of Old Tafo should be looking out for in terms of when final completion will be done. That's all. Thank you.
Timelines, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, when this master agreement came to the House many years ago, those of us who were here, the original agreement said that Sino-Hydro would build the roads and we will use proceeds of bauxite to repay them. Unfortunately, because we are unable to mine bauxite, sell, and use the proceeds to repay, the government of the day came back and converted the so-called barter agreement to a loan. And after converting it to a loan, the government failed again in paying the loan. Mr. Speaker, the new government is just 6 months in office. We are working hard to find the necessary steps to make sure that the Sino-Hydro related projects are completed. And indeed, some of the projects have since been re-awarded to other contractors who are working on it. As we said, the finance minister is in the process of engaging their counterparts in China to be able to get the issue resolved for the rest of the funds to be made available to complete the project. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. On behalf of the House, let me thank you for attending upon the House. We are grateful to you and you are hereby discharged. A statement.
The understanding was that after this, we'll take the statement of the first Deputy Speaker.
Very well. I thought the Minister for Gender is itching to answer the question. Yes, First Deputy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make this statement on a matter of immense national importance: the role of statistics in evidence-based law and policy making. Mr. Speaker, official statistics are not just numbers. They are a vital component of the information system of any democratic society. They empower governments to make informed decisions, support policy formulation, guide effective resources allocation, and enable the monitoring and evaluation of socio-economic development programs and projects. Mr. Speaker, statistics also assist Parliament in making laws, exercising oversight responsibility, and fulfilling its representative functions. Consider, for example, a national population census data on fertility rates, age structures, and population distribution are essential for determining whether to build schools, hospitals, and roads. Similarly, accurate and timely statistics are critical for tracking our progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and for assessing the impact of national programs such as Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, LEAP, initiatives. Furthermore, statistics serves as a powerful tool for accountability. Parliament relies on timely, credible, and comprehensive data to enact legislations, scrutinize policies, review budgets, and oversee the work of the executive arm of government. Mr. Speaker, statistical systems in many developing countries, including Ghana, are often trapped in a persistent cycle of underutilization, inadequate funding, and poor performance. Approximately 90% of the funding for Ghana Statistical Service, the central statistical and coordinating institution of the national statistical system, comes from donors. This clearly reflects the limited values we as a country place on our national statistical system. The administrative data infrastructure in the country remains undeveloped, with the coordination and information sharing among institutions within the national statistical system still inadequate. Mr. Speaker, despite commendable efforts by the Ghana Statistical Service, GSS, to foster data integration among ministries, departments, and agencies, a vast amount of administrative data and statistics within the MDAs remains inaccessible to the Ghana Statistical Service. This reality compromises the oversight capacity of this House, as administrative data, critical for monitoring government programs, is either lacking or inaccessible. Mr. Speaker, this fragmentation leads to inefficiencies in service delivery, duplicated efforts, and citizens' frustration. Individuals may be registered differently across various platforms. Complication identify, verification, and eligibility checks. The resulting data inconsistencies increase the risk of fraud and hinder effective policy planning. Mr. Speaker, without a unified system, national statistics are weakened, data scrutiny is compromised, and the potential for digital transformation and innovation is significantly diminishing. Mr. Speaker, there is an urgent need to invest in Ghana's data system. According to the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development, data, every dollar investment in statistics can yield up to $32 in economic returns through better policy outcomes, improved governance, and smarter program implementation. In recognition of these challenges and opportunities, a high-level parliamentary delegation from Ghana, at the invitation of the UK's Office for National Statistics, ONS, embarked on a study tour to the United Kingdom from the 19th to the 23rd of May 2025. This study visit is part of a broader three-phase initiative that includes pre-engagement, post-visit implementation efforts. The goal is clear: to empt data at the center of Ghana's policy making and legislative process. Mr. Speaker, the delegation comprised members of Parliament, officers of Parliament, and senior officials, including the government statistician from the Ghana Statistical Service. During the tour, we engaged with leading institutions, including the UK Parliament, Cabinet offices, His Majesty's Treasury, the Bank of England, and the Office of the National Statistical in Newport and London. We observed how robust statistical systems support sound governance, fiscal policy, and service delivery. The tour reinforced one truth: statistics are not optional, they are a foundational to good governance. Mr. Speaker, based on our observation and lessons learned, we identified key recommendations for both Parliament and the Ghana Statistical Service to enhance the role of data and statistics in policy making and governance. These recommendations are aimed at strengthening Parliament's roles in fostering a data-driven culture and supporting national development through evidence-based policy making. Mr. Speaker, first, it is imperative that Parliament strengthen its partnership with the Ghana Statistical Service by adopting and implementing the Memorandum of Understanding and the data sharing agreement that have been developed. Doing so will ensure that Parliament has timely, secure, and reliable access to relevant data necessary for legislative oversight, informed debate, and sound policy making. Secondly, to effectively utilize such data, we must enhance the data and analytical capacity of members of Parliament and parliamentary service staff This can be achieved through targeted and continuous training. Building such capacity is not merely a technical requirement, it is essential to improving the quality of debate on the floor of the House, enhancing our oversight responsibilities, and making policies that are grounded in facts. Mr. Speaker, to implement these efforts, we propose that Parliament enact legislation on public sector data sharing models after the United Kingdom's Digital Economy Act of 2017. Such a legislative framework would empower the Ghana Statistical Service to access and utilize administrative data across various sectors for statistical purposes. This, in turn, would improve the quality, coherence, and timeliness of national statistics. We also recommend that Parliament works with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to embed data literacy as a graduation requirement in our educational system. In addition, collaboration with the Ghana Civil Service and Public Services Commission is indeed to make data literacy prerequisite for promotion within the public services. This will foster a culture of data use and evidence-informed decision-making through the public sector. Mr. Speaker, for the Ghana Statistical Service, we propose several complementary reforms. The first is to amend the Ghana Statistical Service Act 2019, Act 103, to transform the Ghana Statistical Service into an independent statistical authority with a stronger legal mandate to set national statistical standards, provide oversight, and lead the recruitment and training of statisticians across government institutions. Mr. Speaker, we urge the establishment of a dedicated parliamentary unit within the Ghana Statistical Service. This unit should be staffed with a permanent liaison officer assigned to Parliament to directly support our data needs, strengthen conditions, and facilitate timely response to the House's request for data and analysis. We propose that members of Parliament benefit from regular structured training in data literacy. This should include practical exposures to platforms such as the Ghana Statistical Stat Bank to build our capacity to interpret data, evaluate policies, and make evidence-based legislative decisions. We also encourage members to undertake the International Data Master Classes, an online course designed to enhance their data literacy skills. Mr. Speaker, this engagement was far more than a steady talk. It was strategic investment in Ghana's democratic governance and our collective capacity as legislators. We return with renewed commitment and practical recommendations that, if embraced, can transform the way we use data in policy making and national development. I therefore call on this Honorable House to support the implementation of these recommendations. Let us commit ourselves to building a parliament that is data-informed, a public service that is data literate, and governance system that is truly evidence-driven. Let us make data work for Ghana. I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I'm not going to also allow comments on them. I will invite the Minister for Foreign Affairs to take the podium. Honourable members, bear with me. Look, just look at the other papers. So many questions, and the questions are our own questions. So please bear with me that I'm not allowing any. We still even have other statements to take. So let's turn to page 2, urgent questions. Urgent questions. And the first question stands in the name of Honorable Samuel Bujinapo, member for Damango. Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker has made a very, very fundamental statement on the floor. And I don't think that such a statement by the first Deputy Speaker
should go with that comment.
After he traveled to the UK and Ireland, accompanied by the minority leader and the majority leader, for the conference that inspired and the workshop that inspired the statement. Then he comes and makes such a detailed, elaborate, fundamental, far-reaching statement. And there's no commentary. Mr. Speaker, I think that we must rethink this your ruling. On that note, I plead that at least one person from each side should, at least, the if Speaker is minded to be magnanimous, he can make it 2-2. But at least one from each side. Because his statement has been so inspiring that the former leader is very excited and wants to make a statement, a comment. So, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honorable members, my boss has made a statement and I'm ignoring comment. So I'll allow two from each side, but 5 minutes. Nobody is going beyond 5 minutes. So, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, we have Dr. Kabiru and Professor Kingsley Nyako.
No problem.
I'm just giving you the names.
Yes.
So they will.
No problem. And I know the Minister for Education and probably the majority leader. So please, I'm going to be straight on the time. Not more than 5 minutes, please. Yes. 3 minutes. No.
Mr. Speaker.
I've already said. Yes. Honorable. Yeah, leader. Honorable Minister, let me listen to Honorable Tia first.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I will first and foremost thank the Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker Bernard Ahiamfor, MP for Akachi, for making this statement. He has broached a topic, Akachi Saf. He has broached a topic of great importance. And his statement is a 360 statement, Mr. Speaker. 360 in the sense that it first highlights the importance of data, goes to underscore the problem with data in Africa and Ghana, and then propose certain measures to addressing that. Mr. Speaker, there is a saying that data is gold, or is the new gold. This is not just a statement, it's not just a metaphor. It is actually underscoring the point that data has far overrun new resources in terms of value and influence. And in the digital first global economy, data is of essence. And Mr. Speaker, there's also another saying that statistics are not just mere numbers. Mr. Speaker, statistics is what makes data intelligible. In other words, numbers in their sense will not make any meaning unless they are reflected in statistics. And that is the point that the Deputy Speaker is drawing our attention, that to do our work, our oversight role effectively, it must be based on evidence. And data utility, Mr. Speaker, is universal. Every single aspect of the economy, every single discipline rely on data. And without data certainty and clarity and even reliability, Mr. Speaker, we will not be able to plan. Mr. Speaker, there is one other thing I would like to draw our attention. The maker of the statement drew our attention to the fact that $1 investment in data has a corresponding economic return of $32. This is over 3,000 returns on data investment. Mr. Speaker, gold cannot give us this return. Cocoa cannot give us this return. And in a digital economy, we must prioritize data. And that is the important point we need to highlight. Mr. Speaker, there are best practices we can learn from. That visit is one of the ways we can learn. But I want to dwell on the recommendations. And my essence is to highlight the importance of those recommendations. The maker of the statement has actually drawn our attention and made some important recommendations. But the importance of those recommendations were left, maybe for the want of time. Mr. Speaker, he recommended that we should implement the Memorandum of Understanding on Data Sharing between the Parliament of Ghana and the Ghana Statistics Service. Mr. Speaker, the importance of this is that it reduces data sharing, reduces the cost of data production. Mr. Speaker, if we were to have a data unit in Parliament responsible for mining data, sharing this data from relevant institutions will reduce the cost of data production in Parliament. And it's an important point we need to note. Mr. Speaker, the second recommendation was to develop analytical capacity of members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, statistics will be a mere number in the hands of a member of Parliament if he cannot interpret that statistic or that number. And without the capacity of members of Parliament to interpret statistics, data will not make any meaning to us. So the capacity of members of Parliament to have the analytical capacity to interpret data is important.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the last point. The maker of a statement also recommended the Data Sharing Act. Mr. Speaker, we need this particular act in order to address the issue of data fragmentation and also to improve the universal utility of data in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank the maker of the statement for this brilliant statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, I would endeavor to be very brief, is to comment the first Deputy Speaker for his brilliant statement on the role of statistics in evidence-based policy making. And Mr. Speaker, his statement is very timely, even for me as Minister responsible for education. Around the same time in the United Kingdom, Oxford had just published the GEEAP, which was looking at the use of language as an instruction to improve learning of children at the basic level of education. And Mr. Speaker, the finding, which is evidence-based, suggested that if you taught children in their native local language, they were more likely to do better in reading and literacy than not. So I want to comment him, but just to raise two other issues. Mr. Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker is his own authority in law. My disagreement with him politely would be the Statistical Service. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the Statistical Service is a creation of the 1992 Constitution in Article 185. There shall be a Statistical Service which shall form part of the public services of Ghana. So if you are suggesting that we now elevate it to an authority, unless of course you are suggesting that we should have an enactment to further pursue the provisions of the Constitution, because it's provided for there that there shall even be the Statistical Service Board. Then, Mr. Speaker, in concluding, even this House will have to benefit from First Deputy Speaker's statement. Mr. Speaker, when we are debating in this House whether it's state of the nation or is the budget, all of us on both sides, how much reference do you make to evidence-based debate? how much research or reference you make to statistics. There can be a debate on the floor of this House, and you will find 2-3 members even contribute to the budget statement with reference to the Statistical Service and its finding, whether on poverty, or macroeconomic performance, or inflation. All you hear is that inflation is high or is low. No evidence, no pointers to statistics. Road infrastructure, there can be a debate here. We need to know which parts of the country are not doing well statistically in terms of their access to quality road. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the statement of the first Deputy Speaker will be an awakening even for Parliament. As he said, Parliament must make use of reliable evidence data for policy making. What is policy? Policy must respond to a need. To examine a need, you must evaluate a particular problem that you want policy to respond to. For instance, if you want to legislate on maybe there is growing teenage pregnancy in schools, and you want to pass a legislation, we are now being told that the number of girls who get pregnant in school may be 12%. You can only respond with legislation if you appreciate the numbers or the statistics concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the maker of the statement and to encourage Parliament and members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the Hansard used to be an authoritative source of reference. We have all contributed in debasing the standard of the Hansard with very frivolous references we make here, that a student cannot quote a member of Parliament and say, on this day, this is what the honourable member said on this matter, and these are statistics we provided. When you were a student in Lagos, you were told, as a political science student, that the parliamentary Hansard is an authoritative source of reference. Today, it may not be so because we do very little research. We debate not with informed evidence base, even on the performance of the economy or our society. With this, Mr. Speaker, I commend the maker of the statement.
Yes, Honorable Professor Nyako.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for indulging me to add my voice to the statement on the role of statistics in evidence-based policy making delivered by the Honorable Bernard Ahiampong, my very good friend MP for Kachi South and the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this chamber is a political chamber. Most importantly, Mr. Speaker, we must also see this chamber as an academic environment, because what we do here is watched by almost everybody in the world who has the opportunity of following proceedings. So it is a platform for learning. It's a platform for education. For that matter, our comments, our debates, our contributions must be informed by empirical evidence. That is data. And that is what the Honorable Federal Speaker is talking about. If they want to inform policy positively, then it means that our comments and views and opinions must be grounded not in our opinions, but in facts. Somebody said that opinions are like noses. Everybody has one. But facts are sacrosanct. Our societies are governed and made better by empirical evidence. Nothing more, nothing less. We can have our opinions, but our opinions, the Speaker, with all due respect, our opinions don't matter. Our opinions don't matter. What matters most is the evidence that we have to shape thinking, to shape thoughts, and the way of life in our quest to advancing of society. Mr. Speaker, our able Federal Speaker advised that we should establish dedicated parliamentary unit within the Ghana Statistical Service. Speaker, we must also strengthen our racial department. We must expand its function and make it more functionable, more effective, where we can go and get more knowledge.
Thank you, Prof.
Oh, why? Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
Just wind
allow
up.
me
Just
to-
wind up for me.
Mr. Speaker, I want to urge us all for us to be better parliamentarians. We must be equipped with the skills in research so that we can convince policymakers in order to ensure that our policies are. Mr. Speaker, theories change. Theories change. That is why we need to constantly update our knowledge, our skills, so that we will be in tune with the realities on the ground. Mr. Speaker, because of time constraint and the pressure for Nelson Tafiamapo, I beg to yield. Thank you.
Is it Dafiamapo or Afo? Okay.
Speaker, let me commend the First Deputy for this statement. Speaker, indeed, in East Africa, in fact in Kenya, in the National Assembly, there's a whole caucus that recently has been formed on evidence-based approach to legislation. The duty of that caucus is to go back and assess the impact of legislation 5 years after it's enacted, to see the kinds of reforms and amendments that they can bring on board. So it's a new movement in a lot of parliaments now, and it's good. Speaker, we are already doing evidence-based policy formulation and implementation. We may not have termed it so. Indeed, this House, when we are approving the common fund formula, it is based on evidence because we use statistics to determine how much should go to Southern and how much should go to, for instance, Accra Metro. It's based on the statistics that we have. When we approve the NHIS formula, it's based on the statistics that we have. In the same way, when we approve the other formulas that we do, we use statistics. In setting up health infrastructure, building hospitals, we look at how many patients we project that if we build this hospital, it's expected that this number of patients will patronize it over a period. So it's such a formidable thing to adopt in all parliaments, including Ghana's. Speaker, indeed in 2009, the US Congress actually proceeded to adopt 9 ways of drafting federal legislations that are based on evidence. And it's become a guide for the National Congress in drafting their legislation. So it's a new movement, and I'm happy that leadership got the opportunity to participate in this seminar, and I'm happy that they brought a report back. Going forward, as part of the reforms in our legislations, this will be introduced. So laws are not enacted in vacuum. In imposing tax laws, is based on the numbers, how many people will pay taxes. So you don't just formulate taxation law for the people. You know that if you do that, the number of people who pay taxes will be great. Speaker, in transportation, if you construct a road, we are able to project that if you construct an asphalt road of about 100 kilometers, the number of passengers that will use the road and pay toll will be such that you'll be able to recoup the money spent on it. Building courthouses, the number of cases that will come before the judges will be able to determine and project that. So, Speaker, I want to thank the maker of the statement once again and pray that leadership essentially will adopt the approach being urged on us in enacting our legislations. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. So we will now comfortably turn to questions, urgent questions. Or we should go on with the statement. Very well. So, Honorable Samuel Bujinapo, member for Damango, you may ask your urgent question now.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Foreign Affairs the circumstances that led to the closure of the Ghanaian mission in Washington, D.C. in the United States of America. Thank you, Speaker.
Very well, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank the ranking member for the question. Since I have delivered a comprehensive statement on the matter, I would ask that Hansard should reference the statement I presented. But I'm open to follow-up questions in the interest of time. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Abu Janapo, supplementary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to bring one or two matters to the attention of the Minister and ask a question on it. Mr. Speaker, on June 9th, exactly 9:13 a.m., on the website of the Washington Mission, Mr. Speaker, you have Madame Mauli Dick writing and making this point, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, she says, during this important reset and transition period at the embassy in DC, some immediate interim measures are necessary to improve the customer service. Mr. Speaker, she goes on to talk about how one Professor Satan Nabani applied for a visa to come to Ghana with a group of intellectuals, but because of the breakdown of service delivery at the mission, they were unable to make the trip. Mr. Speaker, you have another Rastoto who said, for example, I quote her, shame on the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C., and shame on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You disrupt service with no circumscription for it to reflect patrons. And worst of all, you do not reset expected end code. Mr. Speaker, my question to the Minister is, what specific measures is he putting in place to improve upon service delivery at the Washington Mission? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Ranking Member's follow-up question is extremely important. The matter of responsiveness, engaging clientele timeously, with respect, acknowledging that they have paid for a service, and making sure that customer satisfaction is guaranteed are principles that we cannot compromise on. And Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to know that the audit team I put together, it was largely because of these incessant reports of backlogs, lack of responsiveness, people will keep calling and nobody is responding to their calls, even though we are paying officials to work in these departments. We all know as a house that we spend over 1 billion Ghana cedis maintaining our 71 diplomatic missions abroad. So there can be no excuse that people who are paid to work, to man telephones, to respond to emails, to carry out consular services, to ensure that our embassies are friendly places that project the image of our country. What we have been telling colleagues is that first impressions really matter. We cannot say that we want to market our country, we want to make Ghana the gateway to Africa, we want to boost tourism, and then the first impression that visa applicants get is a certain nonchalant, a certain, very cavalier attitude, which does not project a good image of our country. So, Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that we are taking very urgent and decisive action to resolve this. The Washington, D.C. mission has become too notorious when it comes to lack of responsiveness, poor customer relations, and just outright bad service which does not augur well for the image of our country. Indeed, by the time we had to shut down the embassy, we had discovered that there was a backlog of over 2,300 visa applications that had just been ignored. And a certain culture of disrespect and disregard for applicants had really become entrenched. I can confirm today, Mr. Speaker, that we have put together a new code of conduct, and we have sent a circular to all our embassies that we want all our phones to be reconfigured, and they had up to the 15th of July to comply. Some have already complied, like our UK mission, where we want simultaneously multiple calls can come through and be picked by different staff at the same time to deal with this matter of people waiting on end and not being attended to. We have also requested that every week a report should be submitted. We want to know how many people called in and how many of those calls were picked. We have also put in a mechanism where, with the service providers, we can directly assess how many calls came through, how those calls were picked, and then most importantly, Mr. Speaker, we have also introduced a new system where all calls to our diplomatic missions are being recorded for review by management, so that the reports of discourteousness, disrespect, people being rude, all of this will be subject to review, so that if we discover that a particular foreign service officer has been rude, has been discourteous, has been bad-mannered, then the sanctions will apply, because the foreign service regulations do not condone that kind of attitude, and there are clear sanctions that should be applied for those who engage in that unworthy conduct. So, Mr. Speaker, we are putting in place far-reaching reforms, and we believe that with the support of this House and the hard-working members of the Foreign Affairs Committee supporting us, we can really deal with this matter once and for all. But, Mr. Speaker, having been offered the opportunity, please permit me to take full responsibility. I would want to render an unqualified apology to all applicants to embassies across the world who feel so frustrated, who feel let down. We want them to know that we are still the very hospitable people we are. Ghanaians are celebrated globally for our quintessential warmth and welcoming attitude. A few bad nuts want to tarnish that image, but they will not be allowed to tarnish our golden image. But as minister, I take full responsibility, and we are working assiduously to make sure that these reports of bad treatment, lack of responsiveness, disrespect, and just outright disregard for the dignity of applicants, because people have many countries to go to. It should be an honor to us that they choose our country and that they want to visit us. The least we can do is to treat them with respect. So, Mr. Speaker, I take full responsibility, and we are putting in place the measures, very far-reaching measures, that will resolve these matters once and for all. I don't think that these are matters that we should be defensive or we should be partisan about. We should just be interested in the solutions. And let me also use this opportunity to commend foreign service officials who work hard. I recall that recently when I met the Ghanaian committee in Madrid, Spain, they very exceptionally highlighted the good services of our foreign service officials in Spain. They said that Ambassador Apiasam and her team are doing so well, they are so responsive, they are so welcoming, they are so professional, and they wanted the minister to know about it. So it's not an all-out, if you like, bad conduct that is across the board. It's just a few people who really are not living up to the high standards of the Foreign Service of Ghana. But I know that with the efforts we are making, we shall weed out those bad nuts and resolve these matters once and for all. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, if I may plead with you. Your answers should be short. It's just a plea. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister for the assurances he's given. Mr. Speaker, the second supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand a letter dated 26 May 2025 under the hand of Madame Divina A. Seneju, Miss, who is the Director of Administration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Speaker, the letter sets out a wholesale transfer and movement of Foreign Service officials, beginning with Branch A officers to Branch B officers, all the way to Branch C officers. Mr. Speaker, and the indication that I've received is that this is quite unprecedented, and the manner or the extensiveness of this transfer is something which is never probably seen before in our fourth Republican dispensation. Mr. Speaker, the Minister also in his statement, which is relied on, mentioned Her Excellency Hajia Alima Mahama, who is a former member of this House, former cabinet minister, a very distinguished public servant who was our ambassador to Washington. And the suggestion that has been made is also how this whole matter is being handled, and the references made to her seem to cast some unfair aspersions at her personal integrity. Mr. Speaker, at the combined effect of these two points, it's giving us a report. I stand to be corrected, but this is the report I have, that there is a breakdown of morale in the Foreign Service of our country. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the Minister himself will be very concerned about that if it was the case. And the question to the Minister is, what measures is he putting in place to position Ghana's Foreign Service as a non-partisan, above board Foreign Service, as it is in many developed countries and as it should be? What measures is he putting in place to position Ghana's Foreign Service as a non-partisan service, which will have officials who have high morale and who are prepared to sacrifice for our country, because these Foreign Service officials, Mr. Speaker, go through a whole lot. They travel across the world. They do a lot to serve our country. Will the Minister tell the House what concrete measures he intends to put in place to boost morale in the Foreign Service of our country? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Again, Minister. Honorable members, the questions, let's try to be. Honorable member, will you allow me, please? Honorable members, please. So I'm pleading with you as well, those who are going to ask questions. Please, let's be straightforward with our questions, because we have so many. If we are going to go the pace we are going,
Mr. Speaker,
then we may leave here around 10.
Mr. Speaker, I'm fully guided. But Mr. Speaker, my good friend Honorable Ablakwa, he was very comfortable when he was here. Mr. Speaker, you can tell.
No. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can see that the ranking member is really prepared for me today. Well, Mr. Speaker, let me commend the ranking member for his industry. I'm glad that he has obtained the posting circular. It's not transfer, it's postings. And I instructed that the postings for 2025, this year's postings, should be done transparently. So this is how we started. We set up a committee chaired by the chief director. I was not involved. The director of finance, director legal, director admin, and we had reps from the various B service, A service represented in the committee. It was very open, very transparent. For those who don't understand the workings of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, every 4 years we post officers, foreign service officers, every 4 years typically, and there is a precedence list which is followed, and it is done in a very transparent manner. The committee presented its report, and before the report was presented, they even allowed the foreign service staff to indicate if they were available to be posted or not. And they did a great job. They even considered humane circumstances, like some of our females who have just given birth, those who may have children who require special needs. They didn't want to post them to countries where they would not receive that kind of specialization for their children. So it was really humane, very, thoroughly done in a fair, objective manner. And I asked that the report should be circulated, placed on our platforms, put in the file, so that everybody will see what has happened. And that is why I'm sure that you were able to obtain a copy of the postings list. So far, it's been well received. There are a few petitions that have come, which is really, I would say, normal about these processes. And what I have done is that every petition received, I have invited them, listened to them, invited management to justify why they carried out what they did. And so far, all the petitioners have understood, the few petitioners have understood that this has been done objectively above board. There was no special interest. Nobody has been discriminated against. So it's been done very, very professionally. And I thought that the ranking member will have even given me credit that when I took over the ministry, I came under pressure that a few days to election, there had been recruitment of about 100 people and that they should be fired and all of that. I said that no, I will review the process. And when I reviewed the process, I noticed that they had financial clearance from the Minister for Finance at the time, the former minister, and that the processes had started before the elections. And I have kept everybody. Nobody has been dismissed. So, and I must be fair to the Honorable Minority Leader. He has at least the record of this House. I was aware when I received calls that for the first time the Minority Leader is praising me for being very fair-handed and very objective. So I want to assure you that morale at the foreign service of our country is at an all-time high. I can give you a tall list of other things I'm doing. I'm restoring the duty waiver on their vehicles so that when they are returning from postings, they can have their vehicles without paying duties on those vehicles. We are purchasing buses. I'm concluding. We are purchasing 6 buses. When I met the staff on the 10th of February, my first day in office, the staff told me about their difficulties and challenges with transportation. And I made sure that in the 2025 budget, we made an allocation for 6 buses, which we are procuring for our junior staff to be ferrying them. We are also making arrangements for their housing and all of that. So there's a lot we are doing to really take good care of our staff. Those who ask for extension, even whilst they are on posting, medical support, funeral support for their spouses, loved ones. We are taking care of all of those needs. So I like to be an empathetic leader, a humane leader, and I can assure the ranking member that we will not do anything to lower the morale of our very dynamic and hardworking staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, it's okay. Let me give the opportunity to somebody else.
3 questions. 3. I'm starting 3. Mr. Speaker, the final question. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your indulgence. Speaker, but before I ask the final question, let Hansard capture my high commendation of the Minister for Foreign Affairs and praise for this step he took in ensuring that Ghanaians who were recruited before he came to office were not dismissed. Mr. Speaker, I hope his friend, the communication minister, will take some notes from him. And when he gets to cabinet, he should make a case to the president so that the chief of staff will draw the directive to dismiss Ghanaians across board. Well done, Minister. Mr. Speaker, the final question. Mr. Speaker, the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961, sets out copiously the steps which should be taken before a mission is closed down. Mr. Speaker, further, the United States State Department, Mr. Speaker, on 24th April 2025, issued a circular to all missions under the hand of the Secretary of State, where again, if you go to item 10, Mr. Speaker, they set out again copiously what the government of the United States requires for before a mission will be closed down. My question to the Minister, Mr. Speaker, what steps, as it relates to the Vienna Convention and to this circular, which I'm happy to share with the Minister, did the Minister take before closing down our mission in Washington? And is the closure related in any form or shape to the threat issued by the Trump administration to possibly ban Ghanaian citizens from traveling to the United States? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe we are all conversant with the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations of 1961. And we need to do a distinction between leaving a country permanently, where the accreditation that you have been given, you no longer have use of it. So you are withdrawing permanently from the country. And then temporal closures, which is not a permanent withdrawal where your accreditation is still valid. What we did, there's a clear distinction. It was just a temporal closure of our Washington mission because we needed to carry out systemic overhauls. I mean, the rot was just too much. It had become a cesspit, that, as we have discussed earlier, we all are not proud of what was happening at the Washington mission. So in that case, it's just similar to very akin to what happened during COVID, where embassies temporarily shut down, they were working from home, only skeletal staff. Even as we speak, we've had to close our mission in Tehran because of what is happening between Israel and Iran. In Israel as well, the Israeli foreign minister has urged governments to ask their staff, the foreign mission staff, to stay at home. So if you go to Tel Aviv today, our embassy is not open, but it doesn't mean we have withdrawn from the country. So there's a distinction, and I just want to clarify that. Let me also say that this action was just primarily and solely, fundamentally, because of the rot which we have uncovered. It had nothing to do with the so-called, and I have to really assure the nation, a lot of reports about some looming ban on Ghanaians that we will not be able to travel to the States, we are going to be banned and all of that. Let me state, this is a house of record, that Ghana has not been officially notified that we are going to be placed on any prohibition list or on any ban where our citizens cannot travel to the United States. At this point, all of that is speculation. But as a proactive minister, I can assure honorable members that we are having high-level engagements. I have asked that we want to be assured that those leaks, because according to the US media, those were leaks that they intercepted, internal memos. We want to be assured that there's really no merit. And so far, I can tell the people of Ghana that there is no cause for alarm. That is what we are receiving from our partners in Washington. So I think that we will be fine. and we will continue to have very great and cordial relations with the United States of America. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, we turn to question B. No. I'll give leader the opportunity. I'm not giving. Leader, I have so many questions to deal with today. So,
maybe if you can give him just one supplementary.
Leader,
I will yield. Then I will yield to you.
We have similar questions relating to almost the same issues.
Very well.
So,
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have seen the minister's answer as contained in his statement. I am concerned about the foreign service staff. As we all know, when they move out on a mission, they move with their family, spouse, children who are in school. Reading the response, it appears to me that the key person in this whole matter has been mentioned in name. And the minister does not specifically mention that certain other foreign service staff were directly involved. Of course, Mr. Speaker, I won't take away from him his administrative supervisory mandate that if something is wrong, he wants to take certain decisions. Those ones, they come as a matter of course that you want to take a certain action. I'm not going into that path. I am saying that having taken that decision, which affects individuals who knew that, well, they were on a mission, they are left with 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, and their kids are in school. What mitigating measures are in place to address some of the very expected concerns? Because if a child is in school and you are, by this order, pack and go back to Ghana, I know in this house, across the aisle, family members who are affected by this, not, I've been talking to colleagues who are even on your own side, who may not have had the opportunity to come to you, but whose siblings, whose cousins, whose relations are worried because children are now stuck. They don't know what they're doing. At the risk of saying that the measures taken were rather too harsh, would you share with us how you are mitigating this?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minority leader has asked a very important question. And let me state ab initio that all of us in the Foreign Service, we know that our circumstances can change at any time. Indeed, if you look at the posting letters that the Foreign Service officials receive, they are told in very clear language that they can be recalled or they can be cross-posted at any point in time. So there is a certain psychological preparedness that these things can happen. Having said that, I am not one to carry out these measures without a human face, as we call it. When the instruction for recall was issued, I received a number of petitions on humanitarian grounds. There was one Foreign Service official who had been involved in a fire accident, had gone to buy fuel from a oil station some years back, and it's a miracle she survived. So she's receiving care in the United States, has gone through 13 surgeries. I'm sure that the Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Aprechi, knows her very well. When her petition came to my attention, immediately I said she should be, on humanitarian grounds, she should stay, because she even has outstanding surgeries, 8 more surgeries. I mean, I would not want, because of the action of somebody. And it was clear to me that she was not anywhere close to what Kwarteng and his collaborators were doing. Then there is also another confidential secretary who petitioned. She is almost 9 months pregnant, and you don't want a pregnant lady being compelled to travel, by air, that distance, about 13 hours. So again, the internal committee we set up, finding out that she was not close, we have exempted her, so she is staying. So this is just a practical way of explaining that we are implementing this with a human face, so that the Foreign Service officials don't think that, we are just out to get them, or we want to, if you like, be draconian. That is not what is at play. In the case of children, spouses, and all of that, we are looking at these matters on a case-by-case basis. But as I pointed out earlier, the evidence is overwhelming. The management team that carried out this evidence, this investigation, has concluded that there is no way Fred Kwarteng could have done what he did all these years alone, as a lone wolf. There's absolutely no way. There's evidence. They talk about the welfare fund, which they made Fred Kwarteng to be transferring money. And it's all in the report. We'll make the report available, the welfare fund that they were benefiting from, and those who allowed him to be carrying passports out and all of that. So, I mean, if we delve into, I've been quite measured not to mention names and people's complicity and all of that. But I'm sure that when you read the IOCO report, there's an internal report, but we've also invited IOCO. We've invited IOCO to carry out more forensic investigations. So let me just assure you, leader, that we are balancing between the need to be ruthless in fighting corruption, conflict of interest, naked abuse of office, and also doing it with a human face so that vulnerable people are not disadvantaged. So it's a delicate balance which we are conscious of.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Foreign Minister, in his statement, which he requested same to be adopted as his answer to question 6A, makes reference to the report. In fact, he says the report he commissioned is attached. Since this is a House of Records, he indicated that it's attached. In his response, he said he will bring it. I just want to confirm whether he has the report, the team, the audit team. In your statement, you make reference to the report, that which is hereby attached. But what is in distribution, what was distributed to us does not have the report. So may we have a copy table? Yes. Pardon? Yes, what I'm saying, he said he would attach, but he didn't table it. So I want him. Yes, but what I'm saying is that this is very important. So if he can table it now, because it's something that he referred to in his statement, that the report is hereby attached. It is his words. So if he can table them, it becomes part of the records of the House, then we can rely on to do further deliberations. But Mr. Speaker, whilst he he takes his time to look for the report. Yes, I needed this copy for. You have it there? Okay. The Speaker, may he do the formal tabling, then I take a copy. I want to make reference to something in it. So if you can table it formally, then the transmitters can make it available.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minority Leader is the Honorable Minority Leader. Yeah, that's what I said. The Honorable Minority Leader. The Honorable Minority Leader is clearly misconstruing paragraph 7. Yeah, if you pay attention to paragraph 7, I speak of the query, the 2019 query. So paragraph 7, I was referring to the query. I say I have here a copy of the 2019 query, which I'm able to present to this House. And I have a copy. I did even read the query. So I am happy to lay it. So it's the query I was referring to, not the report. But I'm also happy to make the report available to you later. Yeah, because I don't have that here. But paragraph 7 was about the query.
Mr. Speaker, I'm quite curious in the sense that the mainstay of the action was founded on the outcome of the audit. I would have thought that the minister would have fortified himself without a demand from this House. But, Mr. Speaker, he is a man who is representing us in that space and would respect his promise to make that report available to us. So I will not belabor. Now, Honorable Minister, you have used that principle of collective liability to take a decision that innocent people are also being affected. And you refer to this general clause we find in contracts, that termination clauses. But the tests, there is always a test to the triggering of these clauses. I agree with you that, yes, when you are posted, there is a provision that you can be recalled, reposted, and all. But there is a test to it. It must be within reasonable contemplation, not on matters suddenly arising. You know, you talked about human face to solving the problem. I may want you to pursue that rather forcefully, because there is really an overwhelming outcry, lamentation that, you know, has come to my attention, and I would want you to continue to pursue to see how you can solve that problem for our compatriots who are there. That said, may you tell us, in the report you received, was there any aspect that specifically, without any equivocation, without ambiguity, point to the fact that the embassy officials, as well as the head of the mission, became aware that the company that was contracted belonged to the gentleman you referred to in your report? Was there any such specific evidence to that effect?
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the simple answer is yes. The committee discovered that there were some officials at the embassy who knew that GTC belonged to Mr. Fred Kwarteng.
Mr. Speaker, I say that for us in the political space, the only asset we have is our reputation. I'm happy to hear that the Honorable Minister says that some staff were aware. But I want some clarity. These staff who were aware, were they at a level of decision making? Or they were staff at the embassy who were not part of the decision making process of awarding the contract? Because like the Honorable Jinapor said, the respected ambassador who has ended a service to the nation far away in America, served as a member of parliament, a respected lawyer, a government minister who ended her career as a political diplomat. I must admit that you have not mentioned her directly in your response. That I concede. But I want you to clarify whether those who came under your radar as having knowledge of the company were part of decision making.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the report indicates clearly that there were some in management and some lower on the food chain who knew about it, and they will even help him cut the passports to his office 40 minutes away from the mission. And as I said, that explosive report, which will be of interesting reading, will be made available to this House.
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not asking any more questions. Mr. Speaker, I believe that when we finally get the report, we can interrogate the issues. So I'll rest my case pending the tabling of the report. The minister indicates how soon.
Thank you. Let's turn to question B.
Speaker, I said, may the minister indicate how soon, based on his own, because he can't have it readily with us. He says he has it.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Because he's busy.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to present the report as early as tomorrow. We have cabinet, yes, we have cabinet tomorrow, but after cabinet, I would be here to present the report.
Very well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We turn to question B. I'm reading the mood of the House. So, we turn to question B. Honorable Rorita Koko Asante, Atiwa West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask the Foreign Minister the outcome of the meeting between the Ministry and the Ambassador to the United States of America regarding the 10% tariff. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Well, right, Honorable Speaker, let me commend the Honorable Koko Asante for her question, and I'm pleased to present to this August House the key outcomes of the bilateral engagement between the government of Ghana and the United States of America concerning the 10% tariff imposed on Ghanaian exports following my invitation to the U.S. ambassador. I can confirm that on 7th April 2025, I, together with the Deputy Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, the Honorable Samson Ahi, and technocrats of both ministries, the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Trade met with Her Excellency Virginia E. Palmer, the United States Ambassador to Ghana, to address Ghana's concerns regarding the economic impact of the tariff and explore possible mitigation strategies. Mr. Speaker, Ghana and the USA enjoy over 60 years of robust bilateral relationship built on trade, investment, security cooperation, and diplomatic exchanges. Over the past decade, Ghana has emerged as a key trading partner for the USA, with exports exceeding $1.2 billion in 2024, spanning critical sectors such as cocoa, apparel, agro-processing, timber, and manufactured goods, and remains one of the top destinations for U.S. foreign direct investment. In sub-Saharan Africa, attracting approximately $5 billion in investment across agriculture, manufacturing, construction, and tourism between 1994 and 2024. However, on 2nd April 2025, the U.S. government, under an executive order invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, imposed a 10% blanket tariff on imports from 57 countries, including Ghana, on key export sectors, particularly cocoa, timber, agro-processing, and apparel, citing potential foreign exchange losses, job reductions, and economic strain on exporters. This policy, aimed at reducing trade deficits and boosting domestic manufacturing, is expected to significantly disrupt Ghana's trade flow with the United States of America. As a World Trade Organization member, Ghana is committed to fair and transparent trade practices and views the blanket tariff as a potential violation of the most favored nation principle under GATT Article 1, which requires equal and non-discriminatory tariff treatment among WTO members. Our engagement sought to clarify the tariff's implications and advocate for Ghana's interests. The key outcomes of the engagement. Right Honourable Speaker, following deliberations with Ambassador Palmer, the ambassador clarified as follows, that the 10% tariff imposition exempts some products such as oil and gas and energy-related products that Ghana exports to the United States. The following outcomes emerged. Negotiations for cocoa and cocoa derivative exemptions. Ghana raised serious concerns over the adverse impact of the tariff on cocoa exports, a sector that contributes significantly to Ghana's economy. The U.S. ambassador acknowledged Ghana's concerns and cited trade deficits of $240 million with Ghana and the broader trade imbalances as a rationale for the tariff. The meeting discussed the possible exemption of other sectors such as cocoa and its derivatives, such as cocoa butter, paste, powder, and garments. The government of Ghana will pursue follow-up high-level diplomatic engagements in Washington, D.C. to formalize discussions on this exemption, which could protect a significant portion of Ghana's exports from additional costs. The impact on AGOA. The Africa Growth and Opportunity Act benefits about 6,700 products to the U.S. market, and we do that duty-free access. We raise concerns about the tariffs undermining effects on AGOA. The ambassador confirmed that AGOA remains in force, but Ghanaian products under AGOA will still be subjected to the 10% tariff. Ghana expressed strong reservations about the erosion of AGOA's trade advantages and reaffirmed its commitment to advocating for AGOA's renewal beyond its scheduled expiration on September 30, 2025. The U.S. side also raised concerns about their businesses in Ghana, and some of the concerns were about a 15% VAT on imported automobiles. They also cited a mining sector procurement regulatory amendment, which was effected on the 6th of January 2025, tariff preferences on agricultural exports. Mr. Speaker, the U.S. expressed interest in exploring a free trade agreement with Ghana, similar to Ghana's existing trade partnership with the European Union and the United Kingdom, under the Ghana-EU Economic Partnership Agreement and the Ghana-UK Trade Partnership Agreement, respectively. A structured trade agreement could potentially replace AGOA benefits and establish a reciprocal tariff regime, ensuring long-term stability in Ghana-US trade relations. Ghana will assess the feasibility of this proposal, potentially through a line-by-line tariff review that aligns with its commitments under the WTO and regional integration frameworks, such as the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. in consultations with key stakeholders and industry players, ensuring it aligns with national trade objectives. Further commitments. Ambassador Palmer reaffirmed her dedication to preserving Ghana-US relations despite the 10% tariff imposition. Her commitments include high-level advocacy in Washington, D.C., expanded stakeholder engagement, and then sustained bilateral cooperation. Ghana's policy response. Mr. Speaker, as a nation, Ghana remains committed to proactive diplomatic engagements to address the challenges posed by the new tariff regime. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, in consultation with His Excellency the President of the Republic, jointly issued a press release on Monday, 7th April 2025, to reassure stakeholders of government's commitment to dialogue with the USA to improve their trade relations. Stakeholder engagement with all key stakeholders, including industry players, trade associations, exporters, and academia, was held on Thursday, 10th April 2025, at the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, which concluded with a suggestion that the government should ease the cost of doing business and explore alternative markets to export Ghanaian products. Among others, our approach moving forward includes strengthening our trade diversification through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area framework. To mitigate the impact of a 10% tariff and strengthen economic resilience, Ghana will accelerate efforts to expand its trade engagement under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, ensuring reduced dependency on U.S. exports and creating new markets for Ghanaian products within Africa. This strategic approach aims to expand intra-Africa trade, promote regional market access, bolster local production and export capacity, and strengthen economic resilience. Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that a lot of these initiatives have begun in earnest, and we are pursuing this diversification and also signing agreements with other markets and other countries so that the impact of this 10% tariff is really not felt by the Ghanaian people. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, Ghana remains committed to preserving its trade interests and fostering strong economic ties with the United States. Through strategic diplomatic engagement, bilateral negotiations, and proactive trade diversification, we seek to mitigate the impact of the 10% tariff and ensure a resilient, competitive trade environment for Ghanaian exporters. I assure this House that government will continue with its engagement with the U.S. to secure favorable trade agreements, protect Ghana's economic priorities, and reinforce our position in global commerce. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Koko, pardon me, I'll give you only one supplementary question. Don't fight
Mr. Speaker, I believe I'm entitled to 3 supplementary questions. The Minister will indulge me. Okay, I'll ask one. Honorable Minister, can you clarify? I think I heard you mention that when you had the meeting with the ambassador to the United States, they countered that we have a VAT, and so did you present any counter proposal to them or offer, or have you taken any steps to reduce, for a reduction or even a waiver? Because I know some countries have been exempted. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that's a very important supplementary question about measures to mitigate. And Mr. Speaker, we have decided that we will go into a special trade agreement with the United States of America. And I can confirm to you that only last week, the trade minister led a delegation to begin talks with the United States because they have demonstrated that they are open to signing separate bilateral agreements. The United Kingdom has just concluded one, which both countries are describing as a win-win agreement. So we are also taking full advantage of that opportunity. And those discussions have only just begun last week. So I can make a commitment to be regularly updating the House and the Honorable Member on the progress made. And I also will assure the nation that when we conclude those negotiations, we'll certainly make public the outcome. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. It's okay. Or you want? I can give you one more slot if you. Thank you. Honorable members, at your pleasure, can we continue with his normal questions before we come to Honorable Works and Housing Minister? Okay. So, Honorable Patrick Boama, you will take the normal question 77.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Foreign Minister, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the cost structure and the pricing of an ordinary Ghanaian passport.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I'm grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, let me commend the distinguished Patrick Boama for his question. And to state that, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the opportunity to address this Honourable House to provide clarity on the cost structure underpinning the production and issuance of a standard passport booklet. This is in line with our commitment to transparency and sound financial governance in the delivery of essential public services. The total cost incurred in producing a single standard passport booklet currently stands at $18.54, so $18 and some 54 cents, equivalent to 278 Ghana cedis, 10 pesos, using an exchange rate of 1 United States dollar to 15 Ghana cedis. That, at the time the agreement was signed with BTS, that was the exchange rate used. It was 1:15. This total cost is comprised of two key components. The cost of the passport booklet, and this refers to the physical production of the secure booklet, including specialized printing and embedded security features. The unit cost for the booklet is $11, which translates to 165 Ghana cedis at the time when it was 1:15. The operational cost per unit, this amounts to 7.54 United States dollars or 113 Ghana cedis, and includes a range of essential services required for passport issuance. These are maintenance of biometric and IT infrastructure, courier services for document delivery, which we introduced recently, printing, and the personnel cost. So when you put the cost build up together, we have a total of 278 Ghana cedis, equivalent to 18.54 United States dollars. Right Honourable Speaker, although the underlying dollar-denominated costs remain constant, the recent appreciation of the Ghana cedi from 15 Ghana cedi to approximately 11 Ghana cedis to the US dollar has led to a significant reduction in the cedi equivalent cost of producing each passport. This favorable exchange rate movement has created fiscal space, resulting in savings in our local currency terms. In line with our prudent financial management practices, these savings will not go unused. Instead, they will be strategically reinvested to improve and expand the delivery of passport services across the country. A portion of the realized gains will be directed towards courier services as part of our ongoing reforms, thereby enhancing the efficiency and reliability of passport delivery, particularly for applicants outside major urban centers. I'm therefore delighted to confirm that the Mahama administration remains committed to its pledge of reducing the passport fees from 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis for the 32-page booklet. It will be recalled that the previous administration last year carried out a 400% increment in passport application fees, which was not well received by the Ghanaian public and led to a considerable decrease in the patronage of passport services. A new fees and charges amendment will soon be presented to this August House to approve the policy on the reduction from 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for your elaborate answer. I'm satisfied, especially with the concluding part of your answer with regards to the fact that you'll be coming to our committee, the fees and charges. that led to my filing of this question. So I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I wish every owner of the question would just do what Honorable Patrick Boamah has done after the main question, and probably one more supplementary question. So we will turn to question 102, which stands in the name of Abu Jinapo. Is he okay? Deputy Ranking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on order 88.3 to ask a question for Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo, to ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs the response of the Ministry to the foreign policy of the United States of America under President Donald Trump, particularly the withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I'm grateful, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to this question. Right Honourable Speaker, since the re-emergence of President Donald Trump as President of the United States in January 2025, the world has witnessed various foreign policy shifts from his government. In accordance with his campaign promise of placing America first, these policy shifts have ushered in significant political and legal shifts, impacting both domestic policies and international relations. On the international front, President Trump's return to power has led to shifts in U.S. global engagement. While he has expressed reluctance to start new wars, he has indicated a focus on tariffs and economic nationalism. His administration is expected to continue his previous foreign policy strategies, including strengthening alliances under transactional terms and pushing for less reliance on multilateral agreements. While some of these new policies are still unfolding, others are yet to be accompanied by official documents that will allow for detailed studies and appropriate reactions. One of these key policy shifts under the Trump administration has been the withdrawal of the United States from the Paris Agreement. Since assuming office in January, the Trump administration has focused on adoption of hardline positions on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the Ukraine war, suspension of international aid to USAID, and withdrawal of the United States from multilateral arrangements, including the WHO, reinstating stricter immigration policies, including mass deportation, pushing tax cuts and deregulation to stimulate the economy, that is the imposition of trade tariffs, attempting to roll back the Biden-era climate and social policies. Right Honourable Speaker, the Paris Agreement was adopted on 12 December 2015 during the 21st Conference of the Parties, COP21, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. It is a landmark international accord aimed at strengthening global response to climate change. It seeks to substantially reduce greenhouse gas emissions as a means of limiting global temperature rise during this century to well below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, while pursuing efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The agreement, therefore, includes commitments from all the major emitting countries to cut their climate pollution and to strengthen those commitments over time. The agreement also provides an avenue for developed countries to assist developing countries in their climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. It has made provisions for transparent monitoring and reporting, as well as getting countries to live up to their individual and collective climate goals. The Paris Agreement has underpinned international climate action for nearly a decade. The goals and strategies it set out are critical to maintaining a stable climate, which is the foundation of successful societies and economies. As of this year, 2025, a total of 197 countries have endorsed the agreement, which came into force on 4th November 2016. Right Honourable Speaker, the Paris Agreement was negotiated with the United States, a major stakeholder in the global climate change discourse, firmly in mind. The United States formally joined the Paris Agreement in September 2016. However, upon assuming office in his first tenure, President Donald Trump in June 2017 announced the withdrawal of the United States from the agreement. But in accordance with the provisions of the agreement, the withdrawal took effect on 4th November 2020, a day after the US presidential elections. On 19 February 2021, the United States, under the then newly elected President Joe Biden, rejoined the Paris Agreement. But as we all know, President Donald Trump, in his second term, has once again announced the withdrawal of the United States from the agreement. It's become quite of a ping-pong. Right, Honourable Speaker, the Paris Agreement stipulates that any nation's withdrawal takes effect 1 year after an official notice has been submitted to the Secretary General of the United Nations. In the case of the United States, therefore, the earliest effective date of official withdrawal from the agreement will be sometime in January 2026. After that date, the country will no longer be bound by any obligations under the agreement. Ghana's position and response to the U.S. withdrawal. Mr. Speaker, while the government of Ghana finds the decision of the United States to withdraw from the Paris Agreement regrettable, it acknowledges and respects the sovereign rights of the country to join or withdraw from any multilateral arrangement in line with its policy priorities. The government of Ghana would have wished that the United States remain in the Paris Agreement. This is because the United States is an important player in the global climate change discourse. Given its size, industrial base, and global influence, the decision, when it comes into effect in January next year, will make it significantly more difficult to achieve the ambitions of emissions reduction across the world. This decision also has the propensity to disturbingly garner support in other countries, and in the process, undermine the global consensus that has been built around the Paris Agreement over the past decade. This could weaken the existing multilateral climate platform. As a result, one of the immediate responses of the government of Ghana to the announcement of withdrawal by the United States from the Paris Agreement is to utilize every opportunity at both bilateral and multilateral fora to appeal to the U.S. government to reconsider its decision. Working with the larger international community, we hope to continue to engage the United States on the matter and to highlight the direct impacts of the changing climate on our world, from storm surges to heat waves, melting glaciers, and massive crop failures. In diplomacy, Mr. Speaker, we cannot forget the power of persuasion as a tool for change, no matter how grim a situation may look. Mr. Speaker, if history is to serve as a guide, we can be hopeful that even if our persuasion fails and the withdrawal from the Paris Agreement goes into effect in January 2026, the United States could in future rejoin the agreement under a different precedent. The country rejoined the Paris Agreement in February 2021, right after the election of President Joe Biden, and there is no reason to doubt that under a different dispensation, the United States may not consider returning to the multilateral arena. Besides, it is important to point out that the 21st January 2025 executive order of President Trump does not withdraw the United States from the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, which is a treaty established in 1992 to oversee the international climate negotiation process. As a result, the United States retains its right to vote in the Conference of Parties, as well as its reporting obligations under the UNFCCC after it has exited the Paris Agreement in 2026. This means that there is still some avenue, although limited, for the United States to remain engaged on climate change. On its part, the government of Ghana will continue to fulfill its obligations under the Paris Agreement and to support global initiatives to promote climate change agenda. Platforms such as the BRICS Summit under the Brazilian presidency in July and the G20 Summit under South Africa's presidency in November could serve as useful avenues to push the agenda of encouraging other major carbon emitters to remain committed to climate action and to increase their national pledges. In other words, over 190 countries representing approximately 90% of global emissions that have not withdrawn from the Paris Agreement need to be fully engaged to remain committed to the cause. Ghana will also deepen her engagement with like-minded countries, regional blocs, and international organizations such as the European Union, the Africa Union, and the Climate Vulnerable Forum, whose secretariat is based here in Accra, to continue to champion efforts to achieve the climate change targets. These partnerships would help to sustain progress towards Ghana's own climate goals and unlock new avenues for cooperation and support. Right Honourable Speaker, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has shown visionary leadership through the appointment of Honourable Isifu Seidu as Ghana's first ever Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability. This appointment will see the minister lead efforts in shaping and implementing policies that align with Ghana's development goals, while ensuring strict adherence to the country's obligations to the global climate change agenda. By establishing a dedicated Ministry for Climate Change and Sustainability, Ghana is positioning herself as a leading voice in shaping continental and global discussions on the subject. This will also allow Ghana to focus particular attention on how to access international climate finance mechanisms, such as the Green Climate Fund, Loss and Damage Fund, and Adaptation Fund for Development, while fostering public-private partnerships to fund sustainability projects. Right Honourable Speaker, to conclude, Ghana's foreign policy approach to global climate governance has remained consistent, resilient, and forward-looking. The country continues to champion climate action, sustainable development, and multilateral cooperation, regardless of the political shifts by key global players like the United States. Ghana will therefore continue to collaborate with all partners committed to the Paris Agreement to ensure a climate-secure future. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are you not tired? Okay, let me give you one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I only seek to ask that Ghana and US are members of the Forest Climate Leadership Platform. In fact, we both co-chair, and then there is a plan to end forest loss and land degradation. I want to ask that the US having pulled from this Paris Agreement, what would the minister do to ensure that that project, the land loss and the forest degradation, will still continue, or what would the minister do to get them to do that? That's all. Thank you, Mr.
Well, Honourable Minister, but before you answer, Honourable Members, we spent 5 hours, more than 5 hours in the chamber, and per our standing orders, I should seek your indulgence to continue, or allow the House to continue sitting. So we will continue sitting beyond 5 hours. So, Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me assure the Honourable Asaf Wejei that we will continue to engage with the United States at that forum. As I pointed out in my response, the United States, fortunately, has not withdrawn from the UNFCCC, which came into force in 1992. So we continue to collaborate through that framework, and we are confident that the objectives that we have set can continue to be pursued at a bilateral level. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Question 128, the owner is not here. Swaman. Okay, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I come under Order 88.3. I have the authority of the Honourable Member to ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs to provide a timeline for establishing passport offices in the remaining 6 regions that currently do not have them, in line with the government commitment to expanding passport application centers.
Yes, Honourable Minister. Short.
Well, Mr. Speaker, let me commend the Honourable Member for this very important question. And Right Honourable Speaker, as part of efforts to decentralize passport delivery and ensure equitable access to passport services, the Ministry plans to establish passport application centers in the 6 regions that were newly created that do not have passport application centers. They are the Savannah region, Bono East region, Ahafo region, Oti region, Western North region, and the Northeast region. And Mr. Speaker, we have adopted this strategy because we do not have the funding now for permanent structures. What we are doing is to have the first phase, which is to establish the temporary offices. So we are collaborating with the regional coordinating councils to establish the offices, including one in the Upper East region in Bolga. They do not have a passport application center. Then in the 2026 budget, we hope to receive favorable approval from the Ministry of Finance so that we can then move into permanent structures so that we can have dedicated standalone passport application centers. But for now, I can make the commitment that latest by close of this year, passport application centers will be established using our partnership with the regional administrations across these 6 regions and the Upper East region, which currently does not have a passport application center. A project started but stalled a couple of years ago, and we are determined to make sure that the people of the Upper East region and all these new regions do not continue to suffer and be frustrated because of long travels for passports. And Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I have summarized my response because of the exigencies of time, and Table Office may want to capture the entire response, which I've made available to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we will turn to Honorable Foreign Affairs Minister. On behalf of the House, let me thank you for attending upon the House to respond to questions from your colleagues. We thank you, and you are hereby discharged.
Oh, why do you do that?
Honorable members, I'm suspending the House for leadership. No, I'll attend to him. I'm going to suspend the House for 20 minutes. Please indulge me.